Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review of WWE 205 Live for July 18th, 2017. And I'm kind of looking forward to watching this one. Um, it has it has a match I actually want to see on here. That being the 2 out of 3 falls match between Drew Gulak and Mustapha Ali. That's a feud that's been built up for a while. It's a feud I've been enjoying. You have Drew Gulak, who's trying to change 205 Live into a no fly zone. You got Mustapha Ali, who is that high flying type. I've really been digging that storyline, and the match they've been having have been pretty good. And this 2 out of 3 falls match I expect to be really good. Then we have a match also on the show between Akira Tozawa and Ariya Davari. This is a rematch from Raw Monday night because of the fact that Ariya Davari ended up beating Akira Tozawa because Titus O'Neil had the match stopped. Really don't have much of an interest of seeing that match, but I expect the match to be decent. But yeah, I think this week's 205 Live could be a pretty good show. And now that I've kind of previewed it, let me actually start reviewing 205 Live. I'm going to structure my review where after each match or segment, I'll come on here and talk about it. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so we had the actual show itself. We have Corey Graves and Vic Joseph on commentary for this show. And we had the first match on the show. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. Mustafa Ali versus Drew Gulak. I like the hype video package they played, building up to this rivalry. Talking about how the cruiserweights are always high flying, and Drew Gulak wanted to change it to more of a mat based wrestling product. It shows all of Mustafa Ali and Drew Gulak's matches together. How the ones that Drew Gulak won because of his basic wrestling, and the one that Mustafa Ali won by his basic wrestling, and one because Drew Gulak blew cautious to the wind. And then it shows Drew Gulak challenging him to the 2 out of 3 falls match. So I thought they played a nice little hype video package. And then we had the match itself. Drew Gulak and Mustafa Ali both start chain wrestling each other. And Mustafa Ali is able to get the first fall when he hits a roll up right onto Drew Gulak. And Drew Gulak's pissed about this. He kicks the steps. He takes the head off the announcer's table, and he's just pissed. But then he gets back in the ring, and they continue the match. Mustafa Ali hits a drop kick on Gulak, covers him. Gulak kicks out, and Mustafa Ali keeps trying to get the pinfalls on Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak eventually pushes Mustafa Ali off the top rope, and he starts to dominate the matchup for a while. Eventually, he starts talking crap to Mustafa Ali, telling him that he's nothing in his campaign and how he's going to have no success in WWE. And this fires up Mustafa Ali, and he starts to hit his comeback on Gulag. He hits an Insiguri on the apron, and then like a shoulder block, and then he hits a rolling neck breaker, covers him. Gulag kicks out, and then he attacks him on the outside. Um, Drew Gulak dumps him into the timekeeper's area, and Mustafa Ali comes back and hits a Hurricane off the barricade. But you can kind of see that Mustafa Ali's a little bit out of it afterwards, and he puts Gulak back in the ring, and he goes for his inverted 450 splash. But Gulak takes his leg out from under him, throws him into the turnbuckle, and then he gets him into a deadly driver headlock. I forget the name of the move exactly, but the Death Valley Driver, I believe it's called. And Mustafa Ali taps out, so Drew Gulak wins the second fall, but he keeps the submission in. The referee has to break him off of it. And then Drew Gulak begins to dominate the matchup. I thought he hit some really sick moves. Um, Mustafa Ali tries to win with a roll up, but then Gulak kicks out of it and hits a clothesline on him. And then Mustafa Ali tries to go for the Hurricane off the top rope, but Gulak turns it into a power bomb, which looks really sick, and covers him. Ali kicks out. Ali starts to make a comeback. He throws Gulak on the outside, and he hits like a um, tilt-a-whirl West Coast pop on the outside. They both get back in the ring just in time before the 10 count. Gulak hits a suplex into the corner, covers him. Mustafa Ali kicks out. Um, Mustafa Ali hits an O'Connor roll. Gulak kicks out. He hits a inverted Hurricane. Gulak kicks out again. And then Gulag hits a wicked clothesline on him a second time. Um, they both exchange roll ups on each other. Gulag tries to go for the Death Valley driver submission, but Mustafa Ali rolls him up again. Um, almost there. And then Mustafa afterwards eventually Drew Gulak tries to do everything that he can to get the pinfall. And Gulak then eventually does the same thing he did a couple of weeks ago, where he tries to go high risk once again, but then he realizes that it's just not him, so he goes to get down. But then Mustafa Ali hits a Hurricanrana off the top turnbuckle and hits the inverted 450 splash for the win, and Mustafa Ali wins the match. Fine with him winning. Um, I expect him to be the next, either him or Cedric Alexander to be the next number one contender to the Cruiserweight Championships. So I think it makes sense for him to win. I do kind of feel bad for Drew Gulak because I feel like now that this feud is over, he'll kind of go back to being a jobber like he was before. So I guess it is what it is. But overall, I thought this was a really good match here, a good way to blow off this feud that I was really enjoying. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Good match here. Okay, so next, Akira Tozawa and Apollo Cruz are backstage, and Apollo Cruz is talking to Akira Tozawa, telling him how the only reason the titles are start the match was he had his best interests in mind, and he doesn't think that Akira Tozawa is fine to go out there for this match tonight. And Akira Tozawa then says that he's fine and he's ready to go. And then um, Apollo Cruz says that, look, I know that you're not fine. I've known you for years. And I know you're mad at Titus for stopping the match, but he only did it for your best interest because this business, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And he wanted to make sure that you made it to the finish line. And he says that Titus O'Neil has our best interests in mind because when he had me go into that match a few weeks ago, where I was called into the ambulance, he went back. He originally was mad at him, but he went back and watched the footage, and he saw that Titus O'Neil stuck up for him. And he says that um, Titus O'Neil only booked this match tonight against Ariya Davari because he wanted to keep you as a client. But he says that he's here as a friend, and he knows that Ariya Davari is going to win it, and he wants to make sure that he's ready. And Akira Tozawa says that he better win it, and he says that he's ready. And then that was it. I thought this was good here. This was kind of a nice way to tie into the Titus brand storyline, and it kind of seems like they maybe want to break off maybe Akira Tozawa. Um, from the Titus brand after he gets out of the cruiserweight championship picture, um, which would make sense because there really would be much need for Akira Tozawa to be in it anymore. But I did kind of like this. I like that they're having superstars like Apollo Cruz and Titus O'Neil be a part of the cruiserweight division because that is going to help somewhat the cruiserweight division get elevated because it's well-known names that people are going to know. So I thought this was fine here. I think Titus O'Neil too was kind of starting to really grow on me in this role as the Titus brand, so I think it's working. So I liked it. Okay, so next match was the Brian Kendrick versus Devin Bennett. Um, and before the match, the Brian Kendrick gets on the mic, and he I guess he heard that the kid was from Manchester, England, so he says he asked him if he's from the same country that gentleman Jack Gallagher's from, and if he knows who Jack Gallagher is, and he says certainly, and then he asks if he looks up to gentleman Jack Gallagher, and he says indeed, and then the Brian Kendrick says that this is a different playing field here in the WWE than it was back in England. He says that there are people here who's had to work and scrap for everything that they've earned, like the Brian Kendrick, or there are people here that are clowns, like gentleman Jack Gallagher. And he asks him if he thinks he can take the Brian Kendrick, and he says yes. And the Brian Kendrick, then tells him that he made a mistake, and the match starts, and pretty much the Brian Kendrick destroys Bennett. Um, I thought this was pretty good. I like the way that Kendrick was acting. He constantly talks trash to him. Um, and, he even asked him if he's a fighter or a clown. And eventually, after Kendrick's been beating him up so much, uh, Bennett hits one right hand on him, and this pisses Kendrick off. So then he hits a big boot and then gets him into the captain's hook, and Devin Bennett ends up tapping out. And afterwards, Kendrick wins. I thought this was good stuff here. I thought this made Kendrick look really strong, and I love the way that Kendrick was acting. Like I said, I think a lot of people underestimate the talents of the Brian Kendrick. He's very good, and I think they should be using him a lot more. Enjoying his feud with Gentleman Jack Gallagher. It's because of how great of a heel that Kendrick is. He had a great feud with Akira Tozawa and really got him started in WWE, and now Jack Gallagher. Obviously, Gallagher has been with the company a little bit longer, about the same since Akira Tozawa, but I'm enjoying this feud with Gentleman Jack Gallagher. It's giving him Gentleman Jack Gallagher more of a serious side to him than the comedic side we normally see. So I like it. Okay, so next, TJP gets interviewed, and he talks about what he did last week when he defeated his opponent faster than him in this whole competition thing they're doing. And he talks about how the whole motive behind their friendship is that Rich Swann just can't stand the fact that TJP defeated him in the Cruiserweight Classics and knocked him out of the tournament. Um, so he just can't stand being in second place to TJP. So he said that as Rich Swann's friend, um, he's going to change up the competition. TJP is going to pick a partner, and Rich Swann can pick a partner in a tag team match to face each other. Um, Not really digging this whole storyline they're doing with TJP and Rich Swann. I get they want to do like the friendly competition thing, but it's just not really working for me, and I think it's kind of stupid. So that's just my thoughts. Okay, so then we had the main event. It was Ariya Davari versus Akira Tozawa. Um, Thought this was alright. Ariya Davari comes out and cuts this promo talking about this Iranian Olympian who defeated a Japanese person to win an Olympic gold medal, and he just went on and on talking about how Ariane is great. Would have been bad, but this storyline just reminds me of Jinder Mahal's. It's exactly the same thing as Jinder Mahal's storyline they're doing on SmackDown, and it just pisses me off. And it's an exact ripoff. And it seems like they don't know what they want to do with Ariya Davari. One minute he's rich, and then the next minute he's praising, Iranian Olympians. Like, I just feel like they just don't know what to do with this guy. So whatever. And he's a talent too. So, and Akira Tozawa obviously was hurt from the match last night. He starts off doing very well in the match. Um, he dominates a good percent of it. Then Nari Davari targets his shoulder. He tries to crush it in the steel steps, but he ends up fighting out of it with a big kick. He hits the dive through the ropes, and Ariya Davari continues to target the shoulder. He hits a frog splash right to the back of the shoulder. But eventually, Akira Tozawa wins with a roll up, holding the tights. And afterwards, Ariya Davari attacks him from behind, throws him shoulder first into the steel post, and he just ends the show standing tall. Um, but the question I have is why didn't he attack him more? You have a chance to really lay him out and maybe get yourself in position for a cruiserweight championship match. But yet he just threw him into the turnbuckle. No, threw him into the post once, and then that was it. And a couple of other questions I have is why is Akira Tozawa looking so vulnerable against someone like Ariya Davari, who I don't even remember the last time he's won a match of any significance. Um, but yet you have Akira Tozawa positioned to go after Neville's cruiserweight championship, and you have Neville who very rarely ever loses a match. In fact, the only time he's really has lost a match is when he's been pinned by Akira Tozawa. But yet you're having him get laid out by Ariya Davari. Just stupid. Um, if anything, Akira Tozawa should be looking really strong, never losing a match. I get like you're trying to tell a story with Akira Tozawa, but if he's going up against such a dominant champion as Neville, you have to make him look like a very viable opponent. That's just me. But yeah, this match was all right. I didn't really care for the story it was trying to tell, and I didn't really care for like what they're doing with Akira Tozawa. Um, So that's just my thoughts. Yet again, too, no Neville on 205 Live. He wasn't on Raw last night. Well, he wasn't on Raw Monday night because now it's Thursday. He wasn't on 205 Live here. Again, you can't see him every week, but the fact that they put so much into Neville in this division when he's not there, it actually is a huge blow to the cruiserweight division. That's just how it works. And the WWE's created that problem. So, you know, if they would build up other cruiserweights other than Neville, then it really wouldn't be that bad. So overall, that's my thoughts on that match, and that's my thought on no Neville on this show. All right, so now I'm going to give you guys my star ratings for each match and my overall thoughts on the show. Um, for the 2 out of 3 falls match, I thought that was a 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed the match. I enjoyed the story. I liked the way it played out. Not my favorite 2 out of 3 falls match ever, but I still enjoyed it. For the Brian Kendrick, Devin Bennett match, probably a 2.5 star match just because of the way Kendrick was acting. And then for the Akira Tozawa Ariya Davari match, 2 stars. It was solid, but I just didn't really care for the story they're trying to tell. And I thought this was a pretty good episode of 205 Live. Nothing fancy, but I thought it was good. I enjoyed the 2 out of 3 falls match. I enjoyed the stuff they did building up to the V Blind Kendrick Jack Gallagher feud. I didn't mind too much the Ariya Davari Akira Tozawa match. What I did not like on this episode was I didn't like the TJP with Swan feud. I'm not really a fan of that feud. It's just not my cup of tea. No Neville on this show. Like I said, the fact that you've put so much to Neville into this division and you haven't built up any other cruiserweights when he's not there, it hurts the show. And I just don't really care for the way they're booking Tozawa at the moment. So it just doesn't fit. But overall, that's my thoughts. If I had to rate this show, I'll probably rate it a 7 out of 10. I thought this was a pretty good show here. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe to my CM Brothers on the Talking Native YouTube channels. Make sure to subscribe to this channel as well for more content. That's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.